We've already graphed some equations like this on the first day of school. We looked at this type of equation here. But here we're going to get more into depth on using them, and they'll actually be on the test, and you won't be able to use a calculator. This is the vertex form over here in purple, and it was at the top of this page, just the standard format for it. Notice where H is and where K is. Those are going to be the values of the vertex. The vertex is going to be HK from that equation. Notice that in the equation it says minus right here, which means that if you have a plus inside of the parentheses here, this will actually be a -2. And that's what this is saying is the move opposite, is meaning move to the left 2. We had talked about that earlier. So the H value is -2, and the K value is 5. You will need to get those values from the equation, and that will be the vertex point, -2, 5. What you need to do also from the vertex, the x value tells you what the axis of symmetry is. It's x equals -2. And over here in my table, -2 needs to be the middle number for your x value. And you just need to surround it, and if it makes you feel better, I'm going to kind of change this and make this go from -4, -3, -2, -1, and 0, just to make it go from left to right. And you don't have to do that, but it just, I just like to do that. So you have your vertex at -2, 5, and you can plot that point, -2, and up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5, yep. We also have this minus sign in the front. The minus sign in the front is going to tell me that it will open down when I finally get it graphed, so it's going to look like a hill when I have the graph made. Now all I need to do is, I know that here's the vertex at -2, 5. I need to plug in 2 of these values. I can either use the top 2 or I can use the bottom 2, whichever is easier to plug into your equation. And whatever you get for these two, remember that it's going to be the mirror image up here, okay, so that you don't actually have to work all 4 of them out. So I need to plug in, I'm going to use these numbers because they just are easier to plug in. I'm going to plug in first that -1, so -1 goes where the x was at. So -1 plus 2 is inside of the parentheses. That needs to be squared. We need to keep the negative out front. This -1 and 2 is +1. 1 squared is 1, but I had this minus out front, so that's really -1 plus 5, which will end up being 4. So at -1, my point is at 4. -1 and up 1, 2, 3, 4. There's the point for it. And this will also be the same up here for -3, because this is the axis of symmetry right here. Let me draw that in. Going through the vertex is the axis of symmetry, and you can use it like a mirror. This will be reflected over here, and that's where this point came from. Now I'm going to plug in my other point, 0, which is going to be the other easiest one to plug in. -0 plus 2, parentheses squared, plus 5. 0 and 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4. And then I had the negative out front, so we have to put the negative back. So -4 plus 5 is 1. So at 0, I'm at 1. And also at -4, I will end up being at 1. So go back 1, 2, 3, 4. -1, and it mirror images over the axis of symmetry. And then I just need to draw in my U-shaped graph here, or my hill in this case, because it's a parabola and it was negative, so it's opening down. The vertex on this would be a maximum because it's the top of the hill. And that's all that we need to do on this type of problem. We had to find the vertex and the axis of symmetry and then graph it.